What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video. And I first want to apologize for the lack of videos, my absence. Can't believe it's been 10 days. It's crazy when you're making videos. It's like you don't realize how much time goes by from your last video unless you're somebody who just normally does this regularly. And speaking of which, go ahead and hit the like button. I'm trying to grow my channel. I'm trying to be one of these people who do it all the time, and I have a unique perspective on gaming, and I'd like to share it more. To be able to do that, I just need that more support. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, as well as check out in the description below. So yeah, we can talk about this Microsoft situation, obviously, and just kind of the ongoing situation with Nintendo. Let's get through Microsoft first, because most of you guys who are watching this channel are more Nintendo fans, so I'll save Nintendo for last. Yeah, so Microsoft recently upped the price on the Game Pass. They jumped from $20 to $30. I want to start by saying I had never paid the $20 or whatever the minimum cost for Game Pass was. I always got discounted cards. Over the last, how long I've been using Game Pass, maybe 4 or 5 years, somewhere around there. I think closer to 4 years. And it was a great resource for me because of gaming on the go. I got myself a Steam Deck initially, but the Steam Deck couldn't do, without some maneuvering, it could do some cloud gaming stuff, but it couldn't do like, native gaming from Xbox. You couldn't download games from Game Pass or to your Steam Deck. Unless I haven't really paid attention to that Steam. There might be easier ways or more ways to do it now. I don't know. But I went out and got myself a Legion Go. You guys have seen my Legion Go videos and whatnot. Love that system. I probably use it more than my Steam Deck at this point because mostly of the like I said, the Game Pass or the Xbox on the go stuff that I've been doing with it, and so I can go a week, sometimes 2 weeks without turning on my Xbox, but I've been playing Xbox games because everything's an Xbox, right, folks? And I once said everything's an Xbox. If everything's an Xbox, then nothing's an Xbox, and they're dealing with that at this point. But the price is just. I internally I said, because I know they're going to raise the price. They said they weren't. They lied about it. Microsoft has been lying for a long time, but specifically when it comes to modern Xbox and whatnot, let's say Xbox One on, this is probably the most egregious era of them just flat out lying. And I feel sorry for Phil Spencer, not as much as I used to, but Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, because they don't have any say at this point. Everybody pretty much realizes that it's Satya Nadella running the show. Once Activision Blizzard happened, c'est la vie. But back then they were touting, because they wanted that Activision Blizzard deal to go through with the FTC, and so they were just trying to make themselves look as meager as possible. And they were, we want to bring, not just Game Pass, but we want to bring a Call of Duty to Nintendo Switch. They weren't saying Switch 2. They were saying Nintendo Switch because they had billboards and ads and whatnot in the UK talking about 120 million new players for Call of Duty. That's what we're looking to bring. And they were talking about the current, at that time, amount of Switch 2s, or Switches that were out there, not Switch 2. There was no Switch 2. So they were talking about that, and they made a deal, 10 years with Nintendo. I guess a lot of people just missed this because they don't really talk about it. But I thought it was going to come to Switch. That never happened, obviously. And it still hasn't been announced for Switch 2 at this point. And they just been lying and lying and lying. They did a business podcast, whatever you want to call it, a year ago, maybe a little bit more. I can't remember anymore. But basically talking about how they were only going to bring a certain amount of games, 3 games. I think it was a year ago. A little more than that, like a year and a half ago. They're going to bring 4 games. It was only 4 games. That doesn't mean that they're going to bring everything. And at this point, people pretty much believe they're going to bring everything. There's still some games that are out there, like Starfield and whatnot, but we all pretty much think they're coming at some point. And they just completely killed their identity. I said I don't mind. I still don't. I never minded that they bring some of these games, especially like Bethesda stuff, Activision Blizzard stuff, to other consoles. I always thought that was fine, but I thought they should keep the core of, you know, at least the current Xbox, which is stuff like Flight Simulator. Actually, I don't know about Flight Simulator. I'm fine with that. But like Halo, Gears of War, and Forza should never cross over into the other side. I just thought, because that's your core. You can bring everything else over, but you can bring those things still to PC, and they still sold well on PC. But obviously, it sold Forza Horizon 5 sold really well on PlayStation, where it's one of the top games. I think top 3 or top 2 games of the year so far. And it's a Xbox game on PlayStation. So they, Satya, I'm sure Satya saw that and it's like, oh, we don't care. We're going to bring everything. And they just don't seem to realize what they're doing to their core. Oh, they just don't care. I don't know if they just don't care. They think they can weather this, I think, but I think that's stupid. But I was going to say earlier that for me, I knew they were going to raise the price. And I felt for me, $24 or $25, whatever, $24.99 would be my limit to where Game Pass still works for me. At $30, it's still a great deal, but only for a small, tiny amount of people. People who care about Fortnite, who also care about what else did they added in? Old Ubisoft games. If you care about Fortnite, plus you care about old Ubisoft games, this is a good value for you. It's probably a great value. But do those people actually exist? And also, you know, you want obviously Call of Duty and stuff, because you're basically paying more because of Call of Duty at this point. And other, I think, you know, these are some big expensive games, and they just want more money. Are they making money on it? I'm sure they're still making money on Game Pass. They've said they're profitable. They just talked about how they made $5 billion in revenue from Game Pass, and I don't think Game Pass cost them that much a year. So if you're making $5 billion a year on Game Pass, I think you're doing pretty well. But it's just about making more. Microsoft is a nearly $4 trillion company, and it's never enough. It's never going to be enough. The bigger they get, the more they're going to want, the more they're going to want to consume. And again, I think this is still a good deal if you're just some kid who mom bought them an Xbox Series S or something, and that is your only way of playing games. You don't have games, and games, games are expensive, and kids want more and more games. That is a way to satisfy not just one kid, maybe a few kids. And I think it's still worth it at that point, because you're not having to buy multiple games in a year or pay for this and that. And again, kids love the Fortnite and whatnot. If you can throw some V-Bucks for Fortnite and some Robux, whatever they call it, for Roblox, you're covering a lot of kids. You're covering millions of kids out there. So, I mean, I get it, but that's just not me. Like, I have my certain amount of group games, and $20 was low enough. And like I said, I've been paying like $15 to $12 for Game Pass with the discounts I've been getting. I had stacked. My Game Pass Ultimate was stacked, and I haven't even paid out of pocket for it for over a year, because I had like 14 months or something, 15 months probably stacked. And it just ran out. The luck of the draw here, it just ran out, which is kind of sad, because I know Ninja Gaiden 4 is about to drop, and I mean, I'm just gonna buy it. I mean, and again, I'm not one of Game Pass. A lot of people think Game Pass works for people who don't want to buy games. I love buying games. I love owning my games, as you guys have seen in multiple videos. My collection is insane, but the collector in me was like, oh, I can get Game Pass. I'm still going to buy the game, and I'll just keep that game sealed and put away. And that's how I've been doing for the last 3.5, 4 years, or whatever it's been on Game Pass. And it's worked out great. Obviously, not everything comes there, but it's nice to get a little surprise of something that you're about to buy. And you just get it in Game Pass, and then wait for the discount maybe even later on down the line. and that's what I do. I don't buy the game at full price later. I buy it at a discount, 60, even sometimes 70% discount of what it was, and I just put that bad boy away sealed. And I like that. I like being able to do that. But that is no longer a thing. And unless you are some gamer who just consumes games all the time, this is not something you care to have. And it kind of made me a little depressed when it first happened. I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to lose Game Pass. But like I said, I've always bought games. I still buy them. So I was never going to lose anything when it comes to that. Just collector aspect I was going to lose on being able to keep a bunch of sealed games, which is probably not the best for me anyway. But so what I started doing was just like, okay, what am I actually playing on Game Pass at this point that I don't own? And there were a few games, I want to say 6 or 7 or so games that I just went out and just bought. And I was gonna buy them anyway. So I bought those. They're on their way. One of them actually came in today, and that's this game right here. You can see it with all the glare. Forza Motorsport, which I use my beautiful steering wheel setup for. It's fantastic. Also, Forza Horizon 5 I still play. Indiana Jones I hadn't bought yet, but I just bought that. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, South of Midnight. And like I said, with all these games, how many of these games are just this year? Like South of Midnight, Clair Obscur, Avowed I also purchased, Indiana Jones. I mean, that's 4 games right there that I bought that I was playing this year. Some of which I haven't bought or finished, but I finished Indiana Jones and not Clair Obscur yet. There's one other I can't think of from early in the year. But South of Midnight, I'm still working through that, and it's a fantastic game. But I'm playing it on my Legion Go, and it's awesome. I can hook it up to my monitor. It looks beautiful still through my Legion Go, so that's awesome. In other games, I'm just kind of rocking through, and I don't know. It's got me thinking about just the state of things with the prices of Switch 2. Not the console itself. I'll still vouch for the console itself not being expensive. But obviously some of the games, especially when you get into like the Switch 2 version of games, they're like $80 off rip. I think there's one $90 game out there at this point, and then you got the Amiibos coming out at $40 and $50, and it's just like nobody seems to care about the consumer at this point. Except PlayStation, I guess, but PlayStation don't have no games. There's like nothing coming out. There's not enough coming out. I mean, obviously there's third-party games. It gets everything when it comes to that, but Sony don't make anything I care about anymore. And they don't make that many games out a year. I think is Ghost of Yotei their first game this year? I feel like it is, and that's pretty sad. And yeah, that's not enough. That's nothing. I don't, nothing for me. Ghost of Yotei, I will play at some time down the line. I still haven't even played Ghost of Tsushima yet. I own it, haven't played it yet. And I'll get to it, and then after I finish that, I'll play Ghost of Yotei. So there's not a lot over there compelling me to be in that ecosystem very much. And so I'm left with N64. I'm left with Nintendo. Originally was N64. Left with Nintendo, and Nintendo's been, making me depressed with some of this pricing they've been doing. I know some of this has to do with tariffs. Like, I think the controller probably was a tariff thing, the Pro Controller 2. I waited and I got it. I had an eBay discount of $15 and I waited, and I actually ended up getting a new one for $56, I think I paid. And I was like, yeah, that made me feel good, because I was like, there's no way I'm spending almost $100, maybe even $100 after taxes for a controller, a standard controller. It has some extra bells and whistles in it, but it's the standard controller they want you to play with outside of like the Joy-Con 2s. So yeah, I just realized, and I just looked around. If you look around here, you've got a little piece of, I'm probably sure I'll show some more in the video itself as I'm yapping. If you look around here, I have so much joy. There's so much joy here to not be depressed over this stuff. It's like, okay, I'll just bow out from current generation gaming. That's going to happen at some point, I think, anyway, other than a few games, a couple games a year digitally, because there won't be any physical copies. And, you know, even some of the physical copies I bought for my Xbox Series X that I used to get on Game Pass don't have, you know, the physical game in there. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it says on the bottom there, internet required, because you're downloading a lot of this from a server. But some of the games, like, surprised me. I think Clair Obscura is all on the disc. That's not, you know, Microsoft's game. And there's another one that is Microsoft game that I didn't realize was actually on disc. But yeah, so, you know, I have some examples here. There's plenty of joy, and I think a lot of you guys out there watching this video should also partake when it comes to this stuff. Don't get mired and depressed like I had been. Remember, there's plenty of consoles out there you can play with great experiences. Here's my favorite gaming console of all times, controller, which is just one of my favorite controllers ever. It gets a lot of crap out of for nothing. I actually have a video coming on this controller specifically. Yeah, like there's so much to do. There's so much joy to be had. You know, 360, especially that era. That was the I think it's postmodern, whatever you want to call it, because we have the modern era game. I feel like 360 is part of that. Obviously, power-wise, it's not where we're at now, but a lot of the games that come out now are just kind of more bigger, better, or not better, but different versions of games that kind of started with this generation. And obviously the GameCube there as well represent. And honestly, I'm a teacher, so we have, for my class, I teach emotional behavioral kids. So instead of them going to different classes all day, they stay in my class the entire day. And we do every subject. And so as they work that out, they get their work done. We have like a checklist system. And then at the end of the day, we have this thing we call Be Well Time that I came up with. And because they've been well for the day, and they get to earn that. And I keep in the classroom one of my Wii U's. I have two Wii U's. I keep the black one in there. And at the end of the day, they have a blast playing on the Wii U. And I also bring in my SNES Mini. One of my students loves that. Like he's been going through, because I have a lot of games downloaded to it. I modded it, and so I have tons of. I think I have like 200 games on there from Super Nintendo on there, and he just loves discovering games that he likes to play on that. And just, I mean, the Wii U was a console obviously that didn't do well financially and commercially, but these kids don't care about that stuff. They say, oh, I can play Smash Brothers, I can play Mario Kart 8, you know, the one that came out on Switch, I can play all these different games that, Super Mario 3D World, they love that. New Super Mario Brothers Wii, or New Super Mario Brothers U, they have a blast playing these games. They don't, think about any of it. Even 2K's on Wii U, and I have a student who just doesn't understand that. Yeah, no, Ja Morant is not on that game. He asks me all the time, "Is this player in it? Is this player?" I was like, "No, they were probably in middle school or something when that game came out." So, but yeah, they have a blast, and I realized that, a lot of my best memories are on consoles before. It's the nostalgia, sure, some of it's nostalgia, but I also think that it was just more fulfilling time, and just being able to take that case, open it up, there's a game in there, you don't need anything to download, it's all on that disc or all in that cart, and it's all there, and it's just pure joy. And I had to get back to remembering that. So yeah, that's my video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How are you feeling about gaming right now? I'm down on it as far as current generation gaming, but again, I have my history to keep me up and remind me there's still, thousands of games probably out there from these generations, these older generations that I haven't played that are waiting for me to discover. And I don't have to fret over a current generation. Microsoft, they broke me with Perfect Dark specifically because I'm a huge Perfect Dark fan. I was waiting for that game to come out in modern times with modern sensibilities, and that trailer looked fantastic to me, and it's gone. And they just don't care. It seems like they don't even care what they say to us and then take away from us, or add to our wallets costs. So, but again, the gaming history is here. I can still rock with that and smile and have fun still without having to worry about these new things. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe, drop a comment below, and I'll see you folks next time. Peace out.